Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-juice.com. Tonight we're drinking a beer that I made, and this beer is another sort of attempt at a hoppy style within that New England vein of things, but I wanted to challenge...
Is this Juicy AF?
This is double Juicy AF.
Whoa.
Actually, this is session Juicy AF. So what I was shooting for in this beer is a beer that is lower in alcohol. I wanted to shoot to be under 5% alcohol.
Okay.
I wanted to have a very similar hop experience, and I wanted a fairly dry beer that was just going to be drinkable. So basically, I was shooting for a session beer that delivered the hoppy experience that we love in some of these styles. So I'll give you the quick rundown on what this beer is and how it came together. This beer is 8 pounds of Golden Promise.
This is a 5-gallon batch, right?
5-gallon batch.
Okay. Golden Promise.
8 pounds of Golden Promise. It's 1 pound of Torrified Wheat and 10 ounces of Caramel 40. So if you're tracking along at home, percentage-wise, it's about 84% base malt, 10% Torrified Wheat, and 6% Caramel 40. And so this is also a truly like hop bursted style. So what I did here is it's 1 ounce each of Galaxy and Motueka at 10 minutes.
And that's it.
And that's it. And then at 5 minutes, it's another, and then at 5 minutes left in the boil, another ounce of Galaxy and Motueka. And then at flame out, I did an ounce of Galaxy, an ounce of Motueka, and 1 ounce of Cascade.
Huh.
Okay? So that all happening in the last 10 minutes. At the end of the boil, I killed the boil, and I recirculated through my system for 5 more minutes just to give everybody a little more time in the pool. When fermentation was done, I dry hopped this thing with 1 ounce of Amarillo and 1 ounce of Mosaic dry hops in the keg, and those hops are still in the keg in a big stainless steel cylinder.
Whoa.
Okay. So my starting gravity was 1045. My finishing gravity was about 1010. So this beer comes in at about 4.5% alcohol.
Very sessionable.
Very sessionable.
We're not going to say crushable, right?
No. And if you want to know, my calcium is about 128 ppms. My sulfate's about 220 ppms, and my chloride was about 64 ppm. So I went on the sulfate side of things.
Interesting.
So I've got about a 3-to-1 sulfite to chloride ratio, and I used all distilled water. I just add in calcium chloride and gypsum to get to my number.
Okay, so all right. Anything else you want? What was the yeast strain on this?
Oh, I'm also trying to buck the trend on how you brew this beer. This beer is somewhat hazy. It's not super hazy, but I'm digging it. This is Nottingham dry ale yeast.
Hey.
So, but sort of sticking in that English vein because that's supposed to be the deal.
That's the deal.
I'm gonna take a sip.
Okay, so it's funny. Like I was listening to all of where you were adding the hops, how much time left in the boil, and the funny thing is, like I'm like, wow, there's like a nice West Coast bitterness to it.
Really? You think?
Yeah. Not like it's not. It's nice. It's not overpowering. It's not like a mid 90s IPA.
Right.
It's kind of like, hey, this is pretty good. It's but it's like kind of a clean bittering, certainly with like American hops, not like your German hops. It's got more of an American Cascade bitterness to it. And then I'm like, it's all about your water profile.
Yeah.
It is.
I think the water profile is making this have that resiny quality, drier. Despite having it basically all be aroma hops.
Right.
But it's not like, it's just like, it's a little bit bitter. The predicted IBUs here are 47 IBUs.
Yeah, I don't think it's
a 1-to-1 BU to G ratio.
It's not to the point where I'm feeling in the back of my throat, like back when we used to start drinking craft beers, and it was like, isn't this great? And like, this is kind of painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a totally different hop experience. Yeah. Even with the newfangled hops.
Yep.
Even where you put it in the boil. Even at the levels you're putting in. Like, especially, I want to see the stainless steel cylinder you got in your keg.
Next video. Next time,
Next video, we'll just pop that open.
Let's just rip it out of the keg.
Let's do it right now.
now.
Let's see what happens.
Foamy and messy.
Yeah. Let's totally like ruin.
The cool thing is there's no hop debris in here.
No, it's
which is nice.
It's very clean.
I was worried,
but it showcases the hops in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And it is spectacular that just that tweak, where I had more of a balanced water profile. Certainly the sulfate was there, but chloride was there.
Yep.
You know, it's almost like I want to try it. If our water wasn't so damn salty, and it doesn't taste salty, but it's just
but when you open the faucet, you can hear the ocean.
No, when you start plugging in the numbers, you start seeing your calculators like, well, this has a lot of salt and sodium in it.
Yep.
Anyway, pull that back. With a balanced water profile, I bet you it would be more like Juicy AF rather than West Coast AF. You know? Maybe I should stop saying AF.
It's all right.
Sorry.
It's all fine. AF. It's all fine.
All fine.
Yeah, I was going for something that would deliver for me, a non-hop head. I brew so many like malt forward styles or like clean, just styles of beer that are just meant for refreshment. But I do get the craving for hop quality.
Yeah.
I just wanted to brew a beer that delivered some sort of hop experience, but I could still drink 2 of them at the end of the day or coming home from work and not be like, and drink like, as opposed to drinking like 2 8% double IPAs to try to get the same hop experience.
Exactly.
I mean, I think what this has taught me, and there's going to be more iterations of this also sort of builds off of my Galaxy Pale Ale that I was, had been playing with. This is sort of like the next iteration on this. That's why I threw so much Galaxy into it this time too. I just think there's a lot of room to be playing with how to express your hops in a non-bitter way. And I think that the real reason why New England IPA in general is getting so much attention is because of that. It's just a new way of expressing hops for people who, they sort of like what hops can deliver, but they don't want that rigid bitterness. And I don't like that either. I mean, I get a kick out of maybe having a 2-ounce pour of that stuff at a beer fest, but at home when I have to drink 4 gallons out of 5 gallons of it, I have to.
Absolutely have to.
I want it to be what I want it to be, and this is what home brewing is supposed to be about.
Agreed. Yeah. It reminds me of like those cravings I have for Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I'm like, I really want that, and that's what this delivers.
If I substituted out some of the New World hops and did the same type of layering with just like a boatload of like Centennial and Cascade,
I think that would be
this would be like Sierra Nevada Celebration.
Yep. Right? No, you're right. No, you're right.
But it's sort of like that, but a little bit, but the dry, resiny bitterness is restrained. It's there, but it's restrained.
Yeah.
And there is some of that New World hop aroma character
a little bit
stuff too.
A little bit of fruit punch or something.
But it's interesting how even though those dry hops are still in the keg and we're drawing off of it, it's like while I was carbonating it, it was more intense than this. It's just amazing how quickly,
Yep.
And I think I talked about that in the last time I did this style of beer, that I felt like those first few pulls, I just sucked it all off the bottom. And so I enjoyed it. I was like, whoa, man, this is Amarillo and Mosaic. It's awesome. But this is just more well-balanced. Yeah. It's almost like maybe I should unplug the keg, give it a little shake, redistribute the goodness,
and then pour it. Yeah.
And then pour it. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like when you first introed us to the camera, I was sniffing. It wasn't like an overwhelming aroma, but like as you drink it, sort of it sticks on your palate, and then you can start pulling it through your nose.
I think it still has a little bit of ways to go. If I pick up a little bit more carbonation, I think you'll get a little bit more of the nose.
Yeah, it's interesting. You should try to do this again, but stay away from the
New World,
the New World, or the Down Under hops.
Yep.
And go with like classic
American sea hops.
Yeah.
Right?
The big C's.
Layer in some Chinook, Cascade, and Centennial.
Agreed.
And just see what happens.
Yeah. And but stay with the same the hop timing. They like start at 10 minutes. Don't do anything like.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should invent a new term for, like, we have the big Smash Beer series. But one of the biggest things for me in the Smash Beer series is how we've sort of, at least in our minds, grouped hops together into two groups, like the big players, the hops that say, hey, look at me, I'm tangerine, right? But then those other hops that sort of go, I'm sort of fruity, I'm a little bit this, and you realize you need to bring them together.
Yeah.
And that's what, I think that's what you were trying to do
That's what I did.
in your Juicy AF, and that's sort of what I was trying to do here, is take what we've learned and now turn the individual parts of the orchestra into an experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You went double IPA, I went sort of session pale ale, American pale ale, and I think they both work really well. And sort of bringing those things together. I mean, I think this type of hop bursting layering needs more attention. Right? I think this is one way to really do it, because there's plenty of hop character here for only being in there for 10 minutes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been reading some text like about that.
Yeah.
Like you can put a little bit at the beginning, or you can put a lot at the end, and you're going to get the same kind of experience. The
best thing about brewing a beer in this type of format is once I get all the wort run off into the kettle and I hit the flame, you clean up the mash tun, you clean up whatever, and it comes on my system. Then it comes to a boil, and you go, okay, you're boiling. Then I set a timer for 50 minutes, and I go watch TV, because I don't need to add hops, I don't need to do whatever. And then you walk out there at 10 minutes, I throw in the Werflock,
Done.
And I throw my first hops, and then I'm standing there 5 minutes later, boom, 5 more minutes, boom.
And then you're shutting off the flame.
And then while you're like, all right, let me, what am I supposed to do next? By then the whirlpool's done.
Right.
And you run off. I use a plate chiller. I use a plate chiller on this, so I'm just out of the kettle, into the fermenter, boom.
Would you use a different yeast strain? That's the only other question I have.
think it's another area for experimentation and for fun. I use the Nottingham because I haven't used it in a long time, and I just wanted to give it a go and see how it would react in this style. I mean, I think it's pretty good. It's actually sort of starting to clear up a little bit, which I think will be nice. But I would definitely like to throw like London 3. I would love to make a bigger batch, maybe split it into two, and do like London 3 and classic California ale yeast, right?
That was the thing.
And just be like, because that's a great way to say, okay, even with this exact recipe, we know what this is like. Now do it with those other two yeasts and go, okay, look at this one's clearing up, it's not as juicy, or this one is more whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
We'll do that and then say like, okay, tell me which one's the London 3, which one's the classic Chico strain, and see if I can pick it out.
Yeah.
I bet you I won't. I bet you I will.
I bet you will. I hope so, because those yeasts better be different.
Should be big time different. So, all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate this session.
Works well with our last video.
Yeah, it does. I think we're going off. I think, as much as I put
it's almost like we planned it.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I was going to say, a lot of those smash beers, as much as they were for everybody watching, they were for us too. I
like doing the smash beers, but what I really like is we're starting to bring it together.
That's right.
Right?
It only took us a couple of years.
Took us a couple of years. But that, we're just two dudes.
We're just two dudes getting to it as we get to it.
Yeah, and we only drink beers when we have a camera in front of
us. You wish.
That's true. I wish that was true.
All right.
Sweet.
That's it. For John and Mike, brew-juice.com. Brew on.
Cheers.